Hey everybody, Roland Frasier here, and on today's podcast, I want to talk all about leverage. Leverage is just the best thing ever as far as how can you get more out of the things that you've got. So let's talk about what does creating leverage in a business mean? Well, one of the best examples is with sales. So with sales, we talk about how can we create leveraged sales. So sales are I'm on the phone, I'm talking to you, or I meet you, you walk into my business and I make a sale. Well, that's an unleveraged sale. That's really someone found me, however they found me, whether it's by word of mouth or maybe I ran an ad or something like that. That's all cool. But it's just me, right? And it's just that one person that's coming to me. So when we think about how could we create a leveraged sales environment, it would be how can we take the activities? So we break each action that we're taking that helps us generate a sale. So let's say that the first action is that somebody refers us. We have a word of mouth referral from a customer that we had before, and that person comes in. So this is initial marketing acquisition. How do we acquire the lead that we're then going to hopefully convert into a sale? So what would a leveraged version of that be? A leveraged version would be, instead of running this ad or having to serve lots of customers and having one customer that I did that we served before be happy with our work and refer us somebody new, that we actually have somebody that's got a whole bunch of the customers that we want. So that if we reach out through an ad or a marketing effort and we find one person that becomes a customer, that's a reach directly to the customer. That's unleveraged because that's going to be the end of it, right? We're going to have to keep doing that to get another customer. The leveraged version of that would be that we find someone who's already got our ideal customer in bulk. So somebody that's already got them. And I say, when I talk about acquiring media for leverage sales, we talk about who's identified who's aggregated the attention and eyeballs of our ideal customer. That is a media that we would like to acquire, but it's also a place that we would like to create a strategic relationship. So we would be getting leverage sales if, instead of hoping that some of our customers that got fulfillment from our services and we're happy and we're referring us a customer that they happen to bump into. This is kind of a fortuitous sales, right? Instead of that, we're going to intentionally go out and say, who's got all of the people that we want as our ideal customer already in place that will wrap their arm around us and take us into that crowd of people and say, these people are awesome, you should buy from them. That would be a leverage selling activity. Another leverage selling activity that a lot of solo entrepreneurs and smaller entrepreneurs don't have is actually having a sales team. So simply the fact that you're the only person that can talk to a potential customer is creating a constraint that's stopping you from being able to leverage your sales to get more results from less effort. And that's really what leverage is. Leverage is really about, how do I get greater results from the same or less effort that I'm exerting right now? How do I get greater results with the same or fewer resources that I'm expending right now? So can I expend my media buy, or the amount that I'm spending to acquire customers, in a way that makes more sense? Can I take actions that are going to be different from the actions I'm taking right now that are going to have greater impact in that area? That's all just leverage sales. We also think about, how can we leverage the other steps in the sales process? How can we leverage conversion? How can we leverage fulfillment? How can we leverage any aspect of our business? That's how we're talking about leverage in business. So that's the first kind of overarching component. We're just trying to figure out leverage, meaning we expend fewer dollars, less effort, less resources, less time of our own to get greater and greater results. Okay, so that's creating leverage in business. Now, the next thing is, how can we use replication as leverage? Well, replicable models are fantastic once you understand them. And a lot of this is just thinking about how can I be intentional in what I'm doing. Okay. So a replicable model study, like a case study that would be great, would be to think about the difference between what Reebok did as a company and what Nike did as a company. And I had the pleasure of interviewing the founder of Reebok, and unfortunately, I haven't got to interview Phil Knight, who was the founder of Nike, yet. But I did get to read his book Shoe Dog, and he was very, very. It's a great book. Both of those books, by the way. Shoemaker is the one by the founder from Reebok, and Shoe Dog is the one by the founder of Nike. They're both really great to read because they're fantastic studies in how one person built a multi-billion-dollar business that is now in the process of going away, that being Reebok, and really did not get to capture the bulk of the value that he created. And it was all because of poor business models. The other side of it is, how did the Nike founder, how did Phil Knight create this crazy, successful, multi-billion dollar entity that made him a multi-billionaire, and also is one of the hottest to this day? They're doing drops of Nike shoes that sell out the instant that they come out. How do I know this? Because I go on Sneakers as the app, which is, I think it's SNKRS app for Nike, and I'm registering for the lottery, for the draw, to be able to have the right to buy the shoes that are getting ready to come out, right? That's a really powerful model. And a lot of the leverage that was achieved by Nike that was not achieved by Reebok was because Nike built a replicable model, a repeatable process. And here's what they did. So when Nike was coming out, Nike's initial philosophy was, let's find in running, that's the place that they started, in the niche of running, let's find the people who are the up-and-coming superstars. Let's get our shoes ingrained into this sport. Let's send them to the colleges. Let's get those people buying them. Let's get running enthusiasts recommending them and really capture that market. Then let's get the endorsers, the stars of that, to wear our shoes for paid endorsements, and that will cause other runners to be interested in our shoes. And once they owned the running market, then they said, let's branch out. And so they branched out to all the other sports, and they did it very meticulously, very methodically, and they said, here's the process by which we're going to own a sporting niche. And they took that process and they applied it to basketball and tennis and baseball and all of soccer, all of these other sports, and just gradually took over the world as being one of the most successful shoe companies that are out there. Now, that was because when they went into, like, okay, we got running, now let's go, let's say, to basketball. Okay, what's our model? Oh, well, we already know. How do we infiltrate basketball? How do we get our shoes into the up-and-comers? How do we get the enthusiasts to get all over our shoes? How do we find and identify the top players in that sport and get them to endorse us and wear our shoes? They had the model. Reebok, on the other hand, did not. Reebok got its great boost of success kind of accidentally when Jane Fonda and the aerobics crew were popularizing aerobics in the 1980s. Reebok got a huge boost and blew up. But their model and their leadership was ultimately changing in a way that caused them to not do anything except be opportunistic. So it was like, let's do aerobics and let's do this kind of thing and that kind of thing. But there wasn't an intentionality to how they were approaching going forward and saying, we've already done this in a process, in a niche. We've already done this, and here's all the steps as to how we do it. Let's take that repeatable, replicable thing and now apply that to each other niche that we want to go into. They didn't do that. They were lost. They were lost strategically, right? They were lost because there wasn't direction at the top. And unfortunately, the founder was effectively, because he really early on decided to go with a licensing model, he didn't really have the control to be able to do that. Maybe if he had, he would have had the same success as Nike, and we'd be looking at Reebok, instead of just being recently sold by a private equity company that had them, to being as successful as Nike and having the hottest drops that everybody wants right now, and a whole bunch of sneakerheads trying to collect those shoes. So the thing for you to think about, and the takeaway, is that in any business, if you want to grow with the greatest amount of velocity and the least amount of effort, which we would call leveraged growth, right? How can we grow our business with less effort, fewer resources, fewer constraints? Then you want to think about, one of the ways that you can do that is to have a replicable process. Because if you've got that replicable process, you'll never be at a loss of direction, and you'll always be taking something that was successful in the niche that it was successful in, and then just expanding out in ever greater concentric circles to own the whole market. That is a really important thing that I think a lot of people don't think about when they're thinking about their businesses. They're more opportunistic. They're more thinking about, okay, well, here's an opportunity. Let's do that. And I know this person over here, and this person said that I could do this, and this is the hot trend right now. That's not going to do it. That's going to be this squiggly line that you see in our scalable company when we're talking about how most businesses scale, right? It can be done much more intentionally in a much, much straighter line. Okay, so another question is, how can I use a quick wins checklist to get leverage? Well, I think that one of the challenges that a lot of us have as entrepreneurs is that we don't really know what to do next. So we are guided by the whirlwind of the obligations that we have that are swirling around us at any given time, and we're trying just to keep up with that. And it doesn't allow us to slow the whirlwind down, stop it, step outside of it, and then say, what if I was going to actually think about the greatest opportunities that have the greatest possibility for success, that will move the needle the most in the area of the business that I want to move the needle in with the least amount of effort. So what I've created was to help our businesses with that is a thing I call a quick wins checklist. And so it just says several of the things that you can do that will help you grow your business faster, with wins, meaning a success that is not going to take a full year or multiple years to realize. Because a lot of things that businesses start out to do, particularly in software and products businesses where there's some development cycle to the product, is that they're on a multi-year thing. And so they don't really know if there's going to be a payoff until way, way down the road. A great example would be a distillery, right? A distillery has to go and create, or a winery has to go and create the beverage, and then it's got to age for all these years. And in a distillery, it might be 30, 60 years before you get to see if you did the first one right. Well, daggone, all those years that you're making other stuff, you don't know if you're doing it right or not, right? It's going to be like, you might have a giant win. You create Pappy Van Winkle bourbon, right? Which is fantastic. But you didn't find out for 23 or 30, odd years that you did it right. And so you might be doing it wrong all the time that you're waiting to see if that first one was right. But also you might not have any reward. Like you won't have any, like, this is good to motivate me. It's just, boy, I sure hope that first barrel turns out good 23, 30 years from now. So that's an extreme example in the distillery space, but it is something that we all suffer from as entrepreneurs, is burnout. And one of the ways that we can help avoid burnout is to have successes that we can celebrate and experience. One of the ways that we can have a team that's happy and wants to stay around is to reward them and give them the ability to celebrate wins. So one of the things that I think can be really helpful at doing this is to create a quick wins checklist. So what are the things in your business that could be a quick win and that will have some leverage, meaning that you can make a small change that will have reverberating impact that's much, much bigger than the effort that's required to make that change. So how can the reward be much greater, right? The whole concept of leverage. So let's think about what some of those things are. Some of the easy things are to do acquisitions, right? So a few things on my quick wins checklist would include buy or acquire, because I prefer to do it with no money out of pocket, acquire a competitor. If I want to grow my business literally to twice the size that it is right now, tomorrow, all I have to do is acquire a competitor that is an equal size to me, to my business, right? So if you do that, then you've doubled your business. That's a quick win. How do you know you were successful? You close the deal, right? When do you know you were successful? The day after you close the deal, right? Or the day you close the deal. That's typically a 1 to 6 month on the high side process with an average of 90 to 120 days to identify and close a deal to acquire a company. You could acquire a supplier, which would help increase your profit margin. That would be a quick win because the day that you close the deal on that supplier, your profit margin increased by the amount of profit margin that the supplier was taking out of the businesses before in the value chain. Another one would be, a very simple one would be, how can I add a product, a physical product, to a digital product that I've got right now? Because very, very few people who offer digital products offer a bundled physical product with that as well. And so if you want to differentiate yourself and increase your profit margin and increase your conversion rate, then one great way to do that would be to add a physical product to a digital product that helps make that digital product be consumed better or enhances your ability to accomplish the result that the digital product is designed to help them accomplish. Another that's really inexpensive and also can help differentiate you would be to add a digital product to a physical product. So if you're selling a physical product right now, like workout bands, why not sell or add to that $1,000 value digital course on how to lose weight and get in shape with workout bands? So that's an easy one for you to add too. And it's very quick to do that because all you have to do is go find that product that's complementary to the product that you've got. Another one would be, how can I take expenses that I've got right now and turn those into profit centers? That's a very low effort thing that you might have right now in your business, things that you are providing internally or steps in the process of creating your finished product that could all be their own products themselves. You're just not selling and marketing them right now. A great example is with a company I'm an advisor to, which is Scribe, which is a company founded by Tucker Max, who's a good friend and fellow wine drinker, who basically writes books for people, right? So Scribe started as a book writing company, soup to nuts. They do everything. So I would go to them and I'd say, as I did, and I'd say, hey, I'd like for you guys to help me write a book. And they say, fantastic. It's $40,000. And we do the interviewing, the writing, the editing, the ghostwriting, the copy for the back of the book jacket, the cover design, the logo work that gets done, the book launch, the audio book, the marketing, the speaker tour, and all of the steps in between. There's like 30 of them, right? And so when I was talking with Tucker, I said, hey, what if instead of just doing all of this, each of these steps in the process became a product that you were able to offer or a service that you were able to offer to people? You're already doing it. So we're leveraging the personnel and the cost of personnel that you already have in place that exists right now today. There's no additional cost to us to do this. We're simply getting more out of the resources that we already have got right now. And so what he did was he went through the process himself and he said, there's like somewhere between at least 9 and maybe as many as 18 places now that I can actually get new customers that can be marketing funnels that will generate book writers, that will generate authors that I can provide services to, because maybe somebody doesn't need the whole soup to nuts. Maybe somebody just needs the book launch. or they just need the speaker booking, or they just need a cover designed for their book, or they only need editing. They've already done the manuscript, right? They don't need to pay for all that extra stuff. So let's give them the ability to come into our funnel of customer journey from I have an idea for a book to I'm a New York Times bestseller anywhere in the process that they would like to. That's really great because that's an increased benefit of customer experience, because now you've got the ability to serve them exactly where they need, and you're providing this tremendous value because let's say you pick them up in the editing stage. I don't need you to write my book. I don't need the ghostwriter part. I've got that. I just need a really good editor and everything else. Well, then maybe that's a $30,000 sale. And or like I said, all the way down to I need to be on a speaker tour. Great. Maybe that's a $5,000 sale, but it's able to leverage the value of the assets and resources that are already existing, that are already paid for, that are already cost centers in the business, and literally convert them into profit centers with a very, very minimal effort. That's a really good example of leverage, right? Another example on our quick win would be a bolt-on business. So if you've got a part of your business that you do very well, let's say, I'll use Digital Marketer as an example. So Digital Marketer, one of the companies I own, is a company that provides training in digital marketing services. Well, we don't provide a CRM, a customer relationship management solution, but Infusionsoft/Keep does. So Keep is a company that we were able to go to and say, hey, we're really good at content marketing. You guys said that you would like to have more leads that are taking demos of your product. How about if we bolt on our business of creating great content in the digital marketing space to your CRM business? And so we created a strategic partnership and did a program that's still going today called Double Your Sales, where we created all of the content around how to double your sales. And it became a challenge and a campaign and all of that. And Infusionsoft is on the back end of that with their CRM, and they're actually paying for the ad spend, and they're paying us a management fee to manage the ad spend, and they get the leads that are interested from that content marketing campaign in taking a demo of Infusionsoft software. But we get all of the leads that are interested in content marketing and learning more about that. So it's a win-win where we took this business that we've got of being good content marketers and said, let's just bolt it on to Infusionsoft and Keep's business of CRM, because they both are very, very complementary. So there's an endless amount of these quick wins, and you're really only limited by your own creativity in creating them. But that's a way that we go about identifying what are they, and then how can we put them on our quick wins checklist. So what you should do is think about, have a Google Doc, have a note, whatever it is that helps you to document these just as you think about them and as you hear about these things and as you experience things that did result in a quick win. When you do your postmortem and say, hey, that was really good. How did we do that? Then don't forget to add it to your quick wins checklist. And then you can refer to that anytime that you need a new campaign, anytime that you need a new business, anytime that you acquire a new business and want to have quick wins there, anytime that your team seems like they need a boost, like they need a win, then you'll have a ready resource, a repository of these quick wins that you can say, hey, let's run this one. This one worked really well. That's how you get leverage with quick wins. Okay, let's see. Also, how can I use... So one question I get is, how can I use this leverage growth matrix that you've got, Roland? What the heck on earth is the leverage growth matrix? And it's something that came about as a result of my friendship with Jay Abraham. So Jay says that the only 3 ways to grow a business are to get more customers, to get those customers to expend more per transaction, or to get those customers to buy more frequently. So we either just get more of them generally, we get them, the ones that we've already got, to spend more, or we get them to come back and buy more frequently. And ideally, we get all 3 of those things happening. So I started thinking, that's great, but really, I'm all about leverage. So how am I going to get the most out of each of those things? So the leveraged growth matrix simply asks the question, what is the most leveraged way that I can get more customers? What is the most leveraged way that I can get those customers to spend more on each transaction? And what is the leveraged way that I can get those customers to buy more frequently? So I'll give you a few examples. The matrix is, it takes significantly longer than we have here to explain, but let me just give you a couple of bites from it. So if I want to have more sales, I already told you one of the things that we do is we look and say, who has already aggregated the attention and eyeballs of our ideal customer profile? So one of the ways that I would leverage my ability to have more sales, we talked about earlier on this podcast, and that is that I would go and find a center of influence. I call them COIs, right? Center of influence. And that center of influence would be somebody that had already aggregated the attention and eyeballs of my ideal customer. So what do I need to do this? Okay, well, step one, I need to know who is my ideal customer. So you want to be very, very clear on who is the best customer that you've got. Who is your ideal customer, meaning the one that you serve the best first and then that spends the most money with you. So how do you find that? Well, if you've already got customers, it's pretty easy to do a data dive. And there are companies that will do this for you. Tower Data, Melissa Data, USA, Info USA, a lot of those companies, you can send your list of buyers off to, and they will do they will do a data analysis and give you the demographic and psychographic information of those customers. You sometimes, depending on when you listen to this and what the privacy rules are at the time, you could load your customer list into Facebook or Google, and they would give you a bunch of that demographic and psychographic information too. Because of privacy concerns, a lot of those things are changing. So depending on when you do this and when you see or listen to this, you may or may not be able to do that way. But there are data services that will take your list and say, this is the information about your list. Your average buyer is a female aged 18 to 34 who lives in California, Texas, or Florida, has 2 kids, is married, and has a college education and an average income of $150,000. Well, now you know that that's the perfect person. So then you're going to say, okay, well, where do I find that person? So you've built your ideal customer profile, and that becomes your avatar. So your avatar is effectively a personification of your ideal customer profile characteristics. That avatar, and there's a free avatar worksheet you can get if you Google digital marketer avatar or customer avatar, then there's a free sheet that you can fill out that will help you understand this. Now you've identified from data, not from guessing, but from data, your ideal customer. Okay. So now we know that. We've personified that into avatar form. Now we say, okay, where are we likely to find these people? So maybe one of the things that we found is that these women read camping magazines, right? And so they are consumers of camping media. So now we know that our ideal customer is all of these characteristics. We've personified her into this particular avatar, and that there may be multiple avatars, by the way, but this is the one that we're going with. Now we go and we say, okay, who's aggregated the attention and eyeballs of these people? And we say, these are the media that have done that, and these are the products that have done that those people are buying, and these are the services that have done that those people are buying, and this is the intellectual property that these people are consuming that have done that, and then we go and see if we can acquire that media, right? That would be a way to leverage acquisition of customers much, much faster. And there are, again, several ways to do that. And we have a lot more data on that than I can go into here. But that's a really good example, just that one thing. If you go do that, if you go through those steps I just gave you, you will absolutely increase your sales exponentially because you will have acquired a center of influence that you can then tap to get more and more customers with almost no effort at all. Okay. A second way would be, well, actually the second thing would be to say, how do I get these customers to spend more money? What can I do to do that? Probably one of the simplest things that most people miss would be to create what we call a super funnel. So a super funnel simply says that when someone buys something from you, if you can identify the products and services that they are investing in or buying before, during, and after their transaction to buy something from you, whatever that is that you sell. If you can identify what are they buying immediately before they buy from you, what are they buying typically at the same time that they buy from you, and what are they buying after they buy from you, then you'll be able to think about the things that you could add to your marketing funnel to increase your average order value, to increase the transaction size. But to do it in a leveraged way, you don't want to have to get on the phone or talk to them and say, okay, maybe there's something else that you would want. What might that be? And go through that process and do it yourself. You want to automate it. And you want to automate it with things that you know that they're already buying BDA before, during, and after. So what we do is we identify these BDA before, during, and after products, and then we just append those onto our funnel so that you bought the first thing from us. And maybe you bought, I was trying to think of something that's on my desk. You bought a pair of glasses. You bought a pair of glasses, and then maybe we offer you a cleaning cloth for them. These certainly could use that. And then maybe we offer you a glass cleaner, and then maybe we offer you other glasses, and then maybe we offer you whatever a supplement that helps you to improve your eyesight, and then we offer you a course on eye exercises that you can do by flitting your eyes around and building your eye muscles, and that's going to help you to see better, and so on and so forth. Right? So that we can increase your opportunity to spend money with us, but it's done in a leveraged way because we do it within our marketing sales funnel through the software, through the cart that is offering them the ability to buy. So we don't have to do anything else to get that money. It's done automatically through software. That's a very good way to increase the transaction size. And a lot of us just miss these opportunities. And keep in mind, we're not like forcing this thing that they don't want. We're not, hey, you bought a pair of glasses. Would you like a set of tires for your car? We're not doing that at all. We're doing it again based on data. We're saying we're going to survey our customers. We're going to identify what are the products you buy before? What are the services you buy before you buy this pair of glasses? What are the things that you are buying at the same time that you're buying glasses? Usually it's going to be things that help you to consume better, the thing that you bought, things that automate it, things that make it faster, things that make it easier, anything that facilitates that. That is usually what's being purchased at the time of sale. And then what are you buying immediately after? Because there might be things that go with the product, and there might be things logically that you find out that your customer that are illogical to you that the customer is buying, but 14% of your customers are buying this particular thing after they buy from you. So why not offer that to them? Okay, so that's a leveraged transaction size. And then we get to leveraged frequency. So what is the best way that you can get the customer to buy from you more often? It's to create a recurring revenue sale, a recurring sale that's done on subscription. So the primary ways to do that would be through some sort of auto ship of some sort of consumable that relates to or is the product that they're buying from you to start with. So let's go back to the glasses model. So somebody that buys a pair of glasses, and these are reading glasses, not prescription, is probably going to buy more than one pair. Because if I don't have them, I can't read as well as I can without them, right? So I like to have a bunch of glasses within falling distance. If I reach into my drawer here that's right beside me, chances are really good, look, that I have another pair of glasses. So chances are, if I'm buying one pair, I might break them. I broke a pair yesterday. The handle fell off, the whatever they call the thing that supports your ear. I might need more because I've lost them, because I do. I leave them places, right? So to have me on an auto ship or a subscription service for this thing is going to allow me to be a customer much more frequently. And if you're not offering that, then I'm not going to be able to be a customer because I'm probably not going to think about it until my glasses do break. And then maybe I'll buy your brand, but maybe I'll just buy the one that is in the store that I'm by or that's nearest or that I can get quickest because I can't see without them. The other thing would be products that are consumable that are related to the product. So that's a resale or a recurring subscription for the product itself. The other thing would be, what are the consumables that allow me to enjoy this product better that I might be able to get on a subscription or auto ship for? And that would be, in this case, perhaps glass cleaner, perhaps those little cleaning cloths, perhaps cases. So those would be things that you might think about. A supplement would be very, very good, right? Let me take a supplement that improves my eyes in addition to the glasses, and maybe I won't need the glasses anymore. That's a cool dream to sell me. So think about that. With services, you can do the same thing. So whatever your service is, rather than cutting the grass one time at somebody's house, if you're a lawn care company, why not have them on a subscription so that you just come twice a week, once a month, whatever the schedule is. If you offer digital marketing, why do one-time thing? Why not be their digital marketing company and it's X dollars a month or X pounds or euros, depending on where you are, to do this service? That's recurring revenue. So that is a forced frequency increase that serves the customer by providing them the things that you offer them that they need to have on a recurring basis, or that would be very helpful for them to have on a recurring basis, so that you can have more sales. So that's 3 examples, one from each of the parts of the leveraged growth matrix, to help you kind of understand how that works. We're thinking about, at the top, the first thing, how can we get leveraged customer acquisition? How can we get more customers in a leveraged way? There's a whole bunch of ways you can do that. The second thing is, how can we get our customers that are in to spend more money with us? I gave you a way to do that in a leveraged fashion. There's a whole bunch of ways to do that. And then last but not least, what is the way that we can get the customers to buy from us more frequently? And we just went through a pretty good example or 2 of how to do that. So that is how you are able to get leverage using the leverage growth matrix. Now, let's talk about, how can you use outsourcing as leverage? So this is all themed around the idea of, how can we get more results, greater results, bigger results from fewer efforts, using less time, using fewer resources in the company, and overcoming constraints that we might have. When we think about one of the biggest constraints we have, it's the ability to have qualified people available to us as needed to provide the level of service or build the level of products that we need to handle a growing business. So if we can't do that, if we can't, within the 4 walls of the business that we've built, and the 4 walls can be virtual walls and it can be the world, but within our resource collection that we've got of human beings and equipment and time and money, how can we scale and not be limited? So leverage-wise, one of the things that typically holds us back is we don't have enough equipment to make the things that need to be made. And so we have to then get capital to acquire more equipment to make more of the things we want to make. So one way that we could get around that would be to outsource manufacturing to a specialty manufacturer who will make those things for us. Another challenge that we might have is that we don't have enough labor to provide a good customer experience to service the customers that we've got. That could be in sales. We don't have enough salespeople because people are coming into, let's say they're coming into our physical store and there's only one salesperson, and they wait around for a while and then the person is still busy and so they walk out. That sale's lost forever. Or maybe they're online, but they can't buy enough of the product that we've got because we don't have enough of the product because we couldn't make enough of it. Or maybe they're unhappy with the product that they've bought in some way, or they need to have someone show them or explain to them how to use the product correctly or better, or to get more from it. And we have an inadequately staffed customer service department. So when people are calling, it says, we know your call is, no, they say, your call is very important to us. The next person will be available to you in 75 minutes. I always laugh. I look at my wife and my kids and I'm like, so your call is so important to me that you can't hire enough people to handle it, and I'm going to have to wait 75 minutes of my time listening to your horrible hold music before I maybe get to talk to somebody. And by the way, if my call drops, I have to call and go through this horrible process again. That's awful. So the answer to all of those things can be outsourcing. And outsourcing can be a permanent solution or it can be a temporary solution. So if you've got temporary demand increases in the holidays, a perfect example of outsourcing would be that you go to a staffing or temp agency and you get additional personnel to stand in for the people that you would normally need to have and hire and train, but you know that you don't need them all of the year. It's only seasonally, primarily between November and December, that you need these people. So then you go to an outsourcing company to provide those people so that you can handle the seasonal demand. And that could be for salespeople, and it could be in person or virtual. It could be a call center that's going to supplement your customer support or your customer sales. It could be a contract manufacturer that will manufacture the extra things that you need that your facility can't manufacture right now. It could be any of those things, right? Outsourcing provides you the ability to expand and contract at will without committing permanently to that resource. That's a fantastic use of outsourcing. So the leverage that you get is that you didn't have to expend the capital expenditure to buy the equipment to make the stuff that you only need for a short period of time. Or you didn't have to expend the effort and maybe even the required continuance of employment for a particular period of time to staff up and hire additional people because you only needed them for a couple of months. There are outsourcing solutions that will allow you to do that if you just think about it. Now, what you might do is you might use outsourcing as a temporary growth buffer that allows you to handle each stage of your growth, so that, let's say, you need more people in customer support and you're not yet ready to hire, or hiring is tough, or you don't have the money to hire right now. And so you use that outsource company to provide the staff to handle the demand until you can, while you go through the process of finding the right people to put in those positions. So you don't just have to panic hire. You can actually take the time that you need. So that's really how you would go about using outsourcing as leverage.